Vogel, Armenia. Armenia, Kristin Vogel.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Approximately 1 million people were killed. No, this was not a natural disaster. This was an act of war, specifically a genocide. This occurred. This was not of the Jews, because this occurred about 20 years before the Holocaust, but of the Armenians by the Turks. I recently read a book called The Power and the Glory that mentioned this awful genocide, and I was taken aback because I consider myself to be a history buff, and I'd never heard this dreadful occurrence. It got me thinking that even though I consider myself a geography buff as well, I don't know much about Armenia. I decided to do some research on the country and share my findings with you today. I'm going to cover 3 major points: the geography, the culture, and the history. So where is Armenia? Armenia is one of the 3 Caucasus states, which is comprised of Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. This is a map that I brought so you can all envision where it is. This is printed from Suffragio. So Armenia is here in the middle, and it's bordered on the north by Georgia, on the east by Azerbaijan, on the south by Iran, and on the west by Turkey. In case you were trying to picture how large the country is, according to the CIA World Fact Book, Armenia is slightly smaller than the state of Maryland. The proximity of Armenia to both Europe and Asia has made it a completely unique culture that demonstrates both Eastern and Western influences. I was researching and found they have some very unusual foods in Armenia that reflects this culture. For example, some popular foods are, one of them is harissa, which is a porridge made of chicken and fiber with wheat, and gapama, which is pumpkin stuffed with boiled rice and dried fruits, and spas, which is Armenian yogurt soup. I also discovered they have a unique dance known as bard, which is a circle of men standing on each other's shoulders and rotating. Hard to imagine, actually. I saw a picture, but not a video. I kind of want to see a video, but oh well. Another feature that I found to be very fascinating is that Armenia is known to be a very Christian country. They were actually one of the first. They were one of the first nations to formally adopt Christianity back in AD 300. And because of this Christian culture, there's a lot of crosses around the country called Kachkars. And each Kachkar is unique. You'll never see 2 of the same Kachkars. They're never copied. So this Christian heritage and the fact they were located on a major thoroughfare between Europe and Asia has contributed to a long history of being conquered and brutalized by the other nations over the years, including the Romans, Byzantines, Arabs, Persians, and Ottomans. The Ottomans or Turks were responsible for the genocide that I mentioned at the beginning of my speech. It was during World War I in 1916, and Russia was aligned with the Allies against Germany and the Ottoman Empire. This gave the Turks the excuse that the Armenians were supporting Russia against them, and they initiated a complete wipeout of the Armenian people in retaliation. This continued and brutal oppression of the Armenians means that many have fled the nation, resulting in a much larger population of Armenians outside of Armenia than within the country's borders. According to Wikipedia, there are about 11 million Armenians worldwide, but only about 3 million within Armenia itself. In conclusion, I have shared a little bit about the geography, culture, and history of this little-known country, and thoroughly enjoyed researching it. May you also be inspired to broaden your horizons and learn new things about countries all around the world, big and small.